This podcast is part of the Deluxe Edition Network. To find other great shows on the network, head over to deluxeeditionnetwork.com. That's deluxeeditionnetwork.com.
Hold on, stop.
Welcome back to the Shit Show 2.0.
Okay, boomer.
Damn millennials. Wow.
Did not know that. Even flirters who are obviously mentally ill. You want to be my wife?
Oh, this is gonna go downhill real quick.
What is going on, and welcome to Take on the World with and Mike D. Back again after our long break. Our last week's
It's been a long time.
episode explained our absence, sort of.
I was in prison.
Yep, and I wasn't. But we're back. We're going to try to post every other week. Still on Thursdays, still at noon.
We've got to try the Studio B thing.
Yeah, if we could get Studio B going.
Yeah, well, excuse me.
Is it me, man?
I didn't tell you, but I'm getting a pellet stove insert installed in my fireplace.
You told me you wanted to.
I pulled the trigger on it.
Good for you, bro.
It stung a little bit.
I bet it would.
It stung. But you know what? I think it's going to be a good investment in the long run.
Yeah, especially since it was cold as fucking balls when I came over last winter.
I can see your breath. What? Huh? What? So, that was my whole thing. I wanted to have, like, our table set up with the fire in the background. Kind of make it. I just had that in my head, whether it works or not, we'll see. But
okay.
Regardless, I mean, that's not why I got the pellet stove, just so I can shoot the podcast, obviously. But
low chairs. I'm sick of high chairs.
Yeah, we can
or a couch.
A couch or something. I got a spare couch. We can haul out there.
Not your sex couch.
No fucking sex going on in that fucking couch.
Not your solo sex couch. But
shit.
So, look, if we're gonna dive back in, we might as well dive back into something pretty heavy.
It's heavy.
And we're going to dive back in with Ruby Ridge.
I just want to Johnny jump ahead you all the fucking time. Like, I feel like I'm overdue. I've got at least like 3 or 4 in my pocket right now. I'm going to throw out.
Save them up, bro. Save them up. We got many, many shows to come. Actually, one of the shows I think I'd like to do with you is the Attica Riot instead of doing it on my lockup series.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go on one of your lockups with you.
Well, we'll do a lockup together with the Attica Riot.
Did you cover the New Mexico State Prison?
Which one?
The one where they had that really, really bad riot?
No.
There's just a really good documentary on it. It is fucked up.
I try to pick like some more obscure stuff, and I've never done actually like a riot or like specifically about a riot. So I thought that would be a good one for us to do together.
Okay.
So I'll put that on our list and start researching
Camp
that.
Hill, or what'd you say?
Attica. Camp Hill would be another good one to do.
That's not too far from here.
No, and I was actually, I did some traffic control down there when that happened.
Apparently, that's where they used to send our...
We used to go there for training.
Yeah, for training.
Yeah. Actually, I was supposed to go, when I worked at Lehigh, I was supposed to go down there for training. And because of the riot, I ended up going to another county jail that was going to direct supervision at that time because they were building the high rise in Lehigh County when all that happened.
I've only ever been to one other prison. And we got there and all the guys were like, because we were wearing our uniforms and they're like, oh, fuck that place. That place fucking sucks.
Shit, I've been to a shit ton of prisons.
No. That was the only other one.
What? You were to a Japanese prison, so that's not the only other one.
Oh, true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I took you there. on a guided tour.
You touched me in one of the cells.
Yeah, we were cellmates together for 33 seconds. Anyway, so there is a lot to Ruby Ridge, and there's a lot of background to it, and then there's a lot of fallout afterwards, and that's what made this research so tough.
Good, I stumped you.
No, you didn't stump me. Just there's so much information.
Look, I gotta say, listen, this is not a very talked about thing.
Well, the feds don't want to talk about it at all, for sure.
Right.
There were some.
I think that's why it was just kind of one of them deals that was like Waco, you know.
Well, it's one of those things where there was some very, very poor decision making and some bad mistakes made by the federal government.
Right. Could we kind of equate this to like Tombstone?
I think absolutely. Absolutely.
I smell a little reminiscence there.
A little wink and a nod and boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
He just winked at me.
Hey, winked at me. Doc? What, Erp? That's fine. Don't get me started.
Love that movie.
Yeah.
So
let's dig into this, man. Ruby Ridge.
Ruby Ridge. Randy Weaver and Vicky Weaver. Randy Weaver was a former factory worker in Iowa. He was also a U.S. Army soldier, former, and he was reported to be a Green Beret. Now, that comes into play in the aftermath because that claim is disputed in the aftermath. Vicky Weaver was the religious leader of the family. They believed that the apocalypse was imminent, and they just wanted to go to the mountaintop and live by themselves off the grid. So there's a lot of people today that want to just go live off the grid. They
don't blame them at all.
They want to homeschool their kids. They wanted to escape what they saw as a corrupt world. And look, I feel you.
You know, I just had that thought this morning. I kind of don't want to make this thing longer than it has to be, but you know, especially if you have kids, and with that recent shooting in Georgia, did you see that kid?
No, I don't watch the news, so I didn't even know what happened.
Well, it came up on my YouTube feed. The kid looks like he's like 10.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I saw the pictures and I saw stuff, but like these kids are doing it because it's. I don't want to get political.
It almost made me feel like, you know what? Maybe I should take my kid out of school and have him homeschooled. Even though I don't think that's a good idea, because I feel like being in a public school and being exposed to all that stuff is more beneficial than, you know, keeping your kid as a hermit. But it's like, fuck, like what if we all took our kids out of freaking public school, homeschooled them, and there would be no more fucking school shootings? And I know that can't happen, but it just was a thought that was going in my head when I woke up this morning.
The problem is these kids want to stand out. They want to feel special in some way. And they don't know how to do that any other way. And this is the result.
Yeah, I can't explain it to you, man. Yeah, I it's fucked up.
So after the birth of their son Samuel, the family began to sell all their belongings and visited an Amish community to learn how to live without electricity.
Okay.
So they were going native.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. And I know people who try to do that now. Like,
they make it all but impossible. I say they, I meant like,
who's they, John?
Exactly. But
the conspiracy?
Living in society now is, I can't even imagine going from having what we have now to saying,
oh, it is hard.
Because, I mean,
how often do I look at my fucking phone every day?
Yeah. Well, I'm not very good with my phone, and as you know,
yes,
But I kind of like that. It's like I don't have my phone like
But
in my face like all the
here's
time.
the funny thing. So Rob texted me like 30 times last night. He was at a concert. Otherwise, I don't hear from him.
Right.
Like I'll text him every once in a while, but he's been texting me to find out how my hand is. But it could be months, and I don't hear from him. He goes to a concert.
And you get bombarded with texts.
I get bombarded with texts.
Yeah.
It's reminiscent of what we used to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? He has that nostalgia factor, and hey, Mike should be here. You know what I mean? And that's cool because I love the dude. But he's good at putting technology down and walking away from it. Me and Nathan were just talking about this the other day because Rob and I, like, Nathan's like, oh, computer. I'm like, dude.
How was that again?
Computer. I said, Rob and I and my buddy Louie and my buddy Rick were the inception of computers.
Right.
Like we set up one of the first networks in a school. We worked for Air Products and set up their business system network. Like that shit didn't exist before we got there, and we set that shit up. Like we were the fucking at 16 years old, we're the fucking computer gurus. And
now look at it.
And now look at it.
A fucking baby.
We're infants compared to what these kids know.
You see a baby is like a fucking cat playing a game on a phone.
Right.
When it gets swiping like that. You ever see that? It was that cat playing. It was like there were like fish in a fish bowl.
Yeah.
And like if you touched on them, it would like pop them or whatever. And the cat's playing the fucking game.
And I said, so, you know, when you talk about technology and, you know, you Gen Xers don't know technology. I mean, like we invented the fucking technology, dude.
Sure.
Like what you wouldn't have.
Well, not invented it, but you were at the infancy of it where
that's what I meant.
You're putting your input into it. And
right.
Hey, I think we should do this. That'd be much better.
Like we built the internet.
This doesn't work that way. We should try it this way. Yeah.
And like, now
I feel like we should have just made our first episode back part of this. Cause like now we're going to make this thing long as shit, which isn't bad, but maybe we'll just chop it up into like 3 bits.
I thought about that, but what my point was, Rob does nothing with computers. Has nothing to do with computers. My buddy Rick, nothing to do with computers. He could care less. And me, I'm still a computer junkie.
Yeah.
Like I'm still a tech junkie. I love my technology.
You're very good with technology. So I often ask you at work, like, like stupid shit. Like, how do I put my signature on my email?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, click on this and this and this and that.
I kept up with it. My buddy Louie, who was also in the same computer class as me, he's savvy. Like he's still savvy with shit. And like when I talk,
sorry to cut you off, but
no, you're not.
No, I'm not. When we had that big AI discussion with Scott,
yeah,
he's really big into.
He makes me look like an infant.
And that was a really fun episode.
I told you he's one of the fucking smartest people I ever met.
And I wish I wasn't such a retard and I had more like better questions for him, because I'm not even in the same ballpark as that dude. But I tried.
No, I always tout how smart I am. He makes me feel stupid sometimes. Like he really makes me feel like a fucking idiot. But
you smack the binky out of your hand
but
every now and then.
It's still fucking. He is like one of the funnest dudes to hang out with for real. Anyway, so like half of us have nothing to do with technology. Rob and Rick could care less about a cell phone or whatever, and me and Louie are still tech junkies.
Yeah, I kind of feel that's where I'm at. I'm like, I could love it or leave it.
Now I have been making an effort to set my phone down more than I have in the past. It's hard now that I'm not at work because my phone's always sitting right next to me.
Especially with like text messages. Like I don't know, like a lot of guys, if I try and call them, I'm like, I can't do this text message thing. I'm like, I can't convey what I want to say and type it. It's just too exhausting. It would just be so much easier if I could call you and like rap with you for like 10 minutes.
I would,
and you know what I mean? Like
some people, like you, I'd rather call and talk to you. Rob, I'd rather call and talk to him.
Yeah.
There's some people I would rather just don't fucking call me, just text me.
Right. And some people just don't want to be bothered with a phone call.
Yeah, I never got that. Now, I get it more and more as I get older because I just don't want to deal with something.
Like my dad, like I'd rather talk to my dad over the phone because
much rather talk to my dad over the phone.
Like we just don't. He's not of that age where he's gives any fucks about a text messaging. And he does some things, but that's not how he communicates, you know. And which is fine, but I mean, I've never had like a big conversation with my dad. Like I would text him stuff and then he just doesn't get back to me, and it was like, all right, let me call him, like, you know, so we make sure we're on the same.
I really need to call my dad more than I do. Like I really do.
I guess that's one thing I've tried to do is just make sure I call my dad quite often. And I do. And sometimes he doesn't answer, sometimes I don't answer. And, you know, just try another day if he's busy, whatever. And the same with my mom. My mom's not as talkative, like she can be, but anyways, you know, I'm fucking spewing on here.
Anyway, this is 1983. So you didn't have all that tech, but they just wanted to live off the grid. So they purchased 20 acres, which is 8 hectares, which I don't fucking understand. 20 acres, that's good enough for me, of land in Ruby Ridge.
How many techno acres?
I don't it would be
I'm fucking with you, man.
0.8.
That's a lot of acres, bro.
That's a lot of acres, dude. On a hillside, Ruby Creek, Caribou Ridge. I don't think anybody needs to know that.
No, we need to know how many acres, 20 acres of hectares that is.
No, nobody.
Why would you even put that in there?
I don't know.
That's like such a odd fact that.
Okay, here's what I do. I research shit. I do all my research and then I put it in ChatGPT and ask him to bullet point and condense. And that's how it came out.
Did you do that? Do you have the new, well, I don't want to say new, but like now the ChatGPT, I guess if you pay for it, it'll draw pictures for you?
No, but Microsoft Edge will.
My buddy has the one where it'll draw pictures of you, and I had it. I said,
well, that picture I made of Moser.
Right.
That was from the one that draws pictures.
I said, draw me if I were a fat and out of shape, ornery, middle-aged man.
And the picture came out of me,
who has the gout, but flies.
Oh no, it was Roger.
Flies commercial airliners for McDonald's.
What?
So it drew this like dude in a fighter pilot jet with a huge gut and like swollen feet, and there's like McDonald's trash all over the cockpit. Actually, we said cockpit, but it wouldn't do it because you said cock, I guess. So I had to like say whatever. So, but anyways, it was and then McDonald's was licensed, so
trademark. So
we had to say a burger, like whatever, a wealthy or very famous burger company. And it drew me like I'm like swung around, like you see the controls of a thing, and I'm like all fat, right, with fire, like swollen feet, and there's like a cat. It's funny as shit,
dude.
Anyways, it's yeah, it's crazy. I don't know where to go from that, man.
All right, so they built a cabin on Ruby Ridge.
Yeah, what is this, page 1?
Yes.
Bolton point 4 out of 5,000.
No, it's 5. In 1984, see, this all matters though, because this in 1984, the land dispute over $3,000 land deal with a neighbor, Terry Kinnison. So this whole thing stems from this,
right? Well, I just think we're gonna have to cut this thing into like 3 pieces.
Well, let's see how fast we can get through it. So stop fucking talking.
But I can't. We've missed so much shit together, man.
I know we have.
I can't just like not. I just sit here and you read a story that GPT gave you.
ChatGPT did not give me the story. I did the research, and I plugged the research into ChatGPT, and it summarized and bullet pointed it for me. So if I had not summarized this and bullet pointed it, it'd be like 50 pages of research, dude.
But I can't just not interject, man. It's
And
not how
I
we
did
roll.
that research for you
For me,
because my heart.
I was regretting this episode. I even told you that too, and I'm like,
I know.
because you were like, dude, I don't know how this is gonna work. It's gonna be a lot. Just a lot of information.
And if you keep talking, it's just a lot more.
Okay.
So his neighbor lost the lawsuit and was ordered to pay Weaver an additional $2,100 in court costs and damages. So his neighbor is pissed off. He's out $5,100.
I'd be pissed.
So Kinnison wrote letters to the FBI, Secret Service, and the county sheriff alleging threats by Weaver against Pope John Paul II, President Reagan, and Idaho Governor John V. Evans. So the FBI, Secret Service, and the county sheriff just say, dude, this guy's pissed off because he lost the fucking lawsuit.
Right.
But no. January 1985, investigation was launched into alleged threats. February 1985, Weaver and his wife were interviewed by 2 FBI agents, 2 Secret Service agents, and Boundary County Sheriff and Chief Investigator. So this has already gone too far.
I feel like this guy had some sway in the government, is why it went this far.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. If the Secret Service get a threat, even if they know the threat is not likely, they have to investigate it. If you threaten a president, especially Reagan, dude, you can't threaten Ronald Reagan, one of the greatest presidents ever to walk the face of the earth.
Missed me.
Look, I will say this. The first election I could vote in was 1988. So I was never able to vote for Reagan, and that has bothered me ever since.
You could pretend, can't you? Like cast your own vote, like write it in there. Reagan, even though he's not running. Like,
No, and actually in 1988, I wouldn't have voted for him because he was. You could tell he was losing. He was like Biden. He was losing his marbles. Anyway, so the allegations were that Weaver was a member of the Aryan Nation. Everybody knows what that is.
well, you know what pisses me off is that people can make allegations and call you this, and it has to be investigated. Like I feel like that's such bullshit.
So Weaver denied that. He denied that he had a lard cat. Well, he was the other.
You had a lardo cat. What?
He had a lard cat.
I swear it sounded like that's what you said.
I was going to say large cache of
Yeah.
weapons,
You had
and then I realized I didn't say that. That was one of the allegations, so I went back.
a lard cat.
So he was allegedly part of the Aryan Nation. Allegedly, he had a lard cat, and allegedly had a large cache of weapons.
It's the cat that did him in.
So Weaver denied the Aryan Nation allegation and the large cache of weapons. He did not deny having a lard cat. No charges were filed by the government. However, they did find that he had attended Aryan Nation meetings at Hayden Lake on 3 or 4 occasions. Now, the reason he was there was not for the rah-rah Aryan Nation manifest. It was because he was selling weapons, which was eventually found out. I think the short and small of this is I think the ATF or the FBI inserted undercover agent then. Let me see if I can jump ahead here. Yeah. So the ATF became aware of Randy Weaver. We were introduced to an ATF informant at the Aryan Nation Congress. The informant poses a weapons dealer working with the motorcycle gangs. We were invited to the meeting. Frank Kumnick? The original target.
Cumneck?
Is that what it was?
Yeah, Cumneck.
Cumneck?
Cumneck. He had cum all over his neck.
So they just called him Pearl Necklace?
Yeah.
What
do you think his entrance music was?
We when we explained to Nathan what that song was about,
oh God,
he was so embarrassed.
That's funny.
So it was Weaver's first time attending the Congress.
I feel that if you go to a
Aryan Nation meeting,
any Aryan Nation meeting in the woods somewhere, regardless of your intent, like you should be put on a list somewhere.
I agree. Well, he was there for illegal reasons, period. And you're at an Aryan Nation thing. You're kind of a piece of shit.
Well, I was trying to see how they lived off the grid. I was just taking notes, sir.
I just want to see how the white people live.
Yeah.
So,
it was only my first time.
His first time at the Congress, but you don't get invited to the Congress unless you've been to a shitload of Aryan Nation meetings. Not that I know. So it looks like he was going for 3 years, or he was under
going for 3 years.
Over the next 3 years, Weaver and the informant met several times. I would assume all Aryan Nation meetings, because Frank Cumneck was investigating the Aryan Nation, not necessarily Weaver.
So if you're selling guns to the Aryan Nation
and motorcycle gangs,
a little bit of explaining to do.
You got some explaining to do, Lucy.
Alleged illegal activities. So this is things that he was allegedly doing. ATF claimed Weaver sold the informant 2 sawed-off shotguns with lengths shorter than federal law limits, which I think is stupid and ridiculous.
Heck, why couldn't you just, hey, I'll sell you these normal shotguns, and then if you saw them off, we both won't get in trouble. Or you will, but I won't.
That was in October 89. November 89, Weaver was accused the informant of being a spy for the police. Well, got that one. Weaver later claimed he had been warned by Rico V. I don't know what that means.
You're gonna compute. Is that the RICO laws? No, that had to do with like in New York City. RICO 5.
He was warned by Rico V, a person, that he was an informant. Informant's handler, Herb Byerly, ordered the informant to cease contact with Weaver. FBI informant Rico Valentino.
Oh, that's the V.
That's the V. Outed the ATF informant to the Aryan Nation's security. So he was outed. And it was a Rico V. I don't know exactly what Weaver is accused of there. If I don't know how that is illegal. Hey, dude, I think you're a cop. How's that illegal?
I don't know.
Attempts to coerce cooperation. Byerly attempted to use a sawed-off shotgun to charge to pressure Weaver into becoming an informant against the Aryan Nation. Weaver refused to become a snitch. ATF filed gun charges against Weaver. So, I don't know. I'm sure it's in here someplace because there's 22 fucking pages. But
is that all?
Apparently, this whole sawed-off shotgun thing was entrapment.
Okay.
Where the informant said, "Hey, I need a sawed-off shotgun," and we were told, "Nah, I don't do that kind of thing." And he goes, "Yeah, but you can get me a shotgun, and we just cut it off." And he goes, "Yeah, but that's not kosher." And he basically kept hounding him until he did it, which is entrapment.
This whole thing is just bizarre.
Which I think is what was found at his first trial. Let's keep going because I could be talking straight out my ass. ATF falsely alleged Weaver was a bank robber with criminal connections. In 1995, Senate investigation found Weaver was not a suspect in any robberies and had no criminal record. So they were using that to get warrants on him.
The fucking moth is back.
Fuck the little moth. In December 1990, a federal grand jury indicted Weaver for making and possessing, but not selling, illegal weapons. In 1991, ATF agents posed as broken down motorists and arrested Weaver when he and Vicky stopped to assist. So, hey, thanks for helping us with our broken down car. You're under arrest. Weaver released on bail, informed of charges, and the trial date was set for February 19th. So a month later, shit, we see guys waiting for a year for trial. The judge appointed
longer than that.
Everett Hoffmeister as Weaver's attorney. Weaver called probation officer Carl Riggins as instructed, but did not leave contact information. Riggins sent multiple letters to Weaver attempting to work on his defense. Oh, so this is hinky. February 5th, the trial date changed to February 20th. Notice was sent to Hoffmeister, but not directly to Weaver. So Weaver never got notification of the change of date. They sent Weaver a letter with the incorrect trial date of March 20th. So instead of saying February 20th, he got one of saying March 20th. Hoffmeister continued to attempt Weaver, but no avail. Because he didn't have any fucking electricity or nothing. No phone, no light, no motor car.
Not a single luxury.
Not one. Not a one. Weaver did not appear in court, leading Judge Harold Lyman Ryan to issue a bench warrant for failure to appear. February 26th, reporter Ken Keller discovered the incorrect date on Reagan's letter. Chief Probation Officer Terrence Hummel contacted the judge clerk and the U.S. Marshals about the error. Judge Ryan refused to withdraw the bench warrant. The U.S. Marshal Service agreed to delay the execution of the warrant till after March 20th to see if Weaver would appear. So they gave him to the date that was on his notification for court before they executed the arrest warrant. March 14th, the U.S. Attorney's Office called the grand jury, which issued an indictment for failure to appear. So now the judge said, fuck that. Or the U.S. Attorney's Office said, fuck that. We're going to indict him on failure to appear. Grand jury was not informed about the incorrect date on the letter.
Whoops-a-daisy.
I mean, this whole fucking thing is hinky, dude.
Sounds like a witch hunt.
Yes. It does. So the case was transferred to the U.S. Marshal Service from the ATF. Marshals were not informed that the ATF had attempted to recruit Weaver as an informant. So not all the information was passed on. So many freaking mistakes here. Or intentional.
Happy little accidents.
Yeah.
What does he say?
And
there's no mistakes here.
Just happy little accidents, happy little trees.
Happy little sawed-off shotguns.
Happy little snipers. The Marshal Service was now responsible for arresting Weaver. Weaver was now considered a fugitive, staying in his remote home, threatening to resist any force. So he told him, look, come get me, but I'm going to resist. Of course, he had a major mistrust of the government and any government agent.
Right. Rightly so.
The erroneous letter from his probation officer compounded his mistrust. Like his probation officer gave him a letter saying March 20th, which is why he ended up getting served a bench warrant. And then he was indicted on the bench warrant before the actual date of his
that's fucked.
His appearance that was on his appearance date. Like,
whatever happened to, like, isn't there somebody I know in our state, when you get served papers, you get served. So there's a physical man or woman there to say, Mr. Whoever.
Yeah, but they don't read the papers.
True.
The service agent doesn't read the papers.
You're right. But he didn't even get them.
Well, he did get them through his probation officer.
But then it was too late, wasn't it?
But the probation officer gave him a paper that said March 20th, not February 20th.
That's a fucked up.
And the U.S. Marshal Service said, okay, we won't execute this warrant until March 20th.
Well, you know, the government don't make mistakes.
But the U.S. attorney said, fuck that. On March 17th, I'm going to indict him for failure to appear.
Right.
Like, what the
bad
fuck?
Paperwork.
Like, the whole thing's fucked up.
Yeah. That's why I was wondering.
Like, if I was him, I'd be pissed off too.
Yeah.
Honestly. But also, looking at it from both sides, like, that's what you risk when you live off the grid.
I guess.
So Weaver thought there was a conspiracy against him. Of course, I would too. Due to perceived inconsistencies from the government and his lawyer, which there was.
Yeah. And the fact
there weren't perceived, there was inconsistencies.
The fact that he made it known, you come on my land, am I paraphrasing, but am I wrong?
Get off my grass or you get shot.
You will meet resistance.
Yes.
So you can be like, hey, Mr. Weaver, we got the dates. I got the dates wrong. I was saying you got it. Yeah. No, you're good. You were supposed to. You have 3.
Attorney Hoffmeister incorrectly told Weaver that losing the trial would result in losing his land and his children. And that intensified the distrust.
Jesus Christ.
So the Marshal Service's officials made multiple attempts to get Weaver to surrender peacefully. Yeah, at this point, fuck you.
Well, yeah, you're telling them basically.
You're telling me if I lose the case, I'm going to lose my kids, I'm going to lose my land. You fucked me over on the dates. You know, the government fucked me over, my attorney fucked me over. The U.S. attorney, like, went 3 days before my appearance date, according to my paperwork, and indicted me for not appearing. Like, screw you guys.
This is like a very good example.
That's why I said there's so much to this, that the stuff that all happened before Ruby, the actual date, means something.
I'm surprised this isn't studied in for like up and coming lawyers. Like
This should be studied for anybody up and coming in law enforcement.
yeah,
Not just lawyers. Because all these mistakes led to a tragedy that should have never taken place. And I'm not saying everything is on the law enforcement. There was mistakes on both sides, obviously. But this dude had a right to feel screwed over.
right.
So he was negotiating with third parties through March 5th to October 12th, 1991. Assistant U.S. Attorney Ron Howen eventually dictated that negotiations to cease. So, look, we ain't talking no more. And I get that stance. Like, we're not getting anywhere. We're not talking no more.
Yeah.
All future negotiations would go through his lawyer, but Weaver refused to communicate with his lawyer because I don't fucking trust him.
Well, did Weaver know that his paperwork was fucked up?
I think at this point he did.
He's like, yo, you guys indicted me 3 days before my trial date because of fucked up paperwork.
Well, by October 12th, that's like 8 months later. He had to have known that.
I mean, don't you think you would? I don't know.
It's tough, dude. Like I get the U.S. attorney saying, I'm not negotiating anymore because this is useless. And I also get Weaver saying, fuck you all.
Right. I don't, man, damn, what a fucking trooper. Like, damn. I'm not saying that I don't know what I'm saying. I think it would take a lot for me to like be like,
it's a rock and hard place.
I made the stance where like I'm gonna die on my fucking land with my rifle in my hand.
It wouldn't take me a lot to say that.
And like, you know, because it's not just me dying, it's a lot of other shit dying along with it too.
What I'm saying is I think Weaver should have demanded the court give him another attorney.
Right.
I don't trust my attorney.
Like,
fire him, give me another attorney.
At what point, like, I would try and like make it right. I would think, like, come out of the woodwork, you know, and be like, hey, something's wrong. You might be arrested and spend a couple of days in jail, but by the time they sort it out, you know, you're right, and they put your paperwork up, then, or who knows, maybe they might bury it. I don't know.
Well, the Marshal Service now started planning on how they're going to capture Weaver to stand trial for the weapons charge and failure to appear. On March 4th, the Marshal Service agents Ron Evans and Jack Clough visited the Weaver property posing as real estate prospects. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, right.
I can't see through that. On March 27th, 1992, at United States Marshal Service headquarters meeting, Art Roderick codenamed the operation Northern Exposure. Surveillance teams were dispatched and cameras were set up to monitor activity at the Weaver's residence. Marshals observed that the Weaver's residents and family would take up armed positions around the cabin whenever vehicles or other visitors approached until they were recognized. Okay, I get it. If I see a car come with a driveway, I don't know who it is. First thing I do is grab my pistol.
Like, you think this was the best thing that the federal government could have done to apprehend one man? Like, you know, he's got a wife in there. You know, he's got kids in there. And you know, he's going to go to Walmart sooner or later. Right? Just nab him up on his trip to like get at whatever the fuck it is he gets on the outside.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just feel like I wasn't there. I don't know. I don't know all the ins and outs. But in my logical brain, I'm thinking we're going to play the long game on this guy. So we don't fucking... Did they know his fucking paperwork? Like the feds and shit? They knew his paperwork was fucked up?
They had to have. Like, they all had to have known at this point all the circumstances leading up to this.
So we're pushing this dude. You're like, that would...
Yes.
You got to understand. Like, yeah, I mean, like... I thought you were looking...
Well, it's like the movie The Fugitive. I don't care. It's my job to bring you in. I don't care.
Right.
It's my job to bring you in.
Mm.
So now this next part, dude, don't read ahead. Don't look at the screen. Don't look at the screen.
I can't read anyways.
This next part
I don't even know where we're at.
it connects to our next topic.
I should go to the fridge and get another beer. Is that what you're saying?
And we'll be right back.
Hey, this is Ron. Do you like movies?
Hey, this is Ragnar. Y'all like alcohol?
Hey guys, this is Stu. Do you like punishments?
Hey, this is Goop. Do you like cinephiles?
Hey everybody, I'm Chase. Do you guys like alcohol poisoning?
If you like all of that, then check us out at Barrel Age Flicks. We're on Apple, Spotify, and all the other platforms out there.
Hey, this is Sammy from Barrel Age Chicks, and I'm here with Yen.
Hey, everybody.
How you doing, Yen?
I'm feeling amazing.
Yes, you are. Well, what we're here to do today is talk about where you can find Barrel Age Chicks. You can find us on Google Podcast,
Apple Podcasts,
Spotify,
Anchor,
and Good Pods.
Yep.
On the Barrel Age Chicks, we have myself, Sammy. We have
Yen,
of course. And then we have Snow, Crystal, and Harley.
Yep.
We enjoy talking about everything from movies to being current moms to being just the ladies of the Barrel Age Flicks boys and their shenanigans in general.
Please join us without kids. Thank you.
Yes, our podcast is explicit content, so it is definitely not for little ears, but come out, let your hair down to hear the chick side of things.
Whoop, whoop.
It's a shit show.
Please join us. We need some mom time.
So, anytime there's trouble when it comes to anything, Geraldo Rivera is not far away. So,
Fucking Geraldo.
a helicopter hired in April of 1992, hired by Geraldo Rivera for the television show Now It Can Be Told, conducted a flyover near the Weaver property. Reports emerged that Randy Weaver shot at the helicopter.
I wouldn't doubt if Geraldo was like, we're taking on fire.
Yeah, no shit. U.S. Marshals were installing surveillance cameras overlooking the Weaver property on the same day. A report filed by the U.S. Marshals reported seeing a helicopter near the Weaver property, but did not mention hearing any shots. In an interview with, I'm not pronouncing the fucking name, newspaper, Weaver denied that anyone had fired on the helicopter. The helicopter was piloted by Richard Weiss, stated that Weaver had not fired on the helicopter. So Geraldo, for ratings,
Made up lies. Imagine that.
Go figure. Just like opening Al Capone's vault with nothing in it, and finding the grave of our next topic, Jimmy Hoffa.
Was he there digging him up on the
Giants goal?
Yeah, the 50-yard line, the center of the field.
After because they hyped up that fucking Capone's vault so much.
What?
I didn't watch
shit in like the 90s.
I didn't watch the Hoffa thing.
It was like a 3-day buildup.
Oh, dude, it was more than that. It was months.
Months, but yeah.
We're getting ready to open Hoffa's Capone's hidden vault.
We've got the construction
what will we find?
crews just showed up, and in 2 months we'll be digging on the 50-yard line.
It's not the 50-yard line; it's the east end zone.
Is that what I thought?
I don't know. There's been so many places. We'll get into that in our next episode. So come back and listen. So,
I don't know where you live. I don't even read. Try and read the things you read.
Confirmed that when the incident indicated Weaver was present on the grand jury, there was evidence that no shots had been fired at the helicopter. Period.
Have you ever tried this too? Just
Geraldo lied and people died.
If you ask Chat GPT to break this down into less than like 4 pages, it'll do that too.
Yeah.
I swear to God, because I asked it. I was looking up. I was trying to explain to me.
Are you telling me I have too much research?
Well, no. I mean, like, well, yeah. Kind of, sort of.
Well, you know I love researching, right?
Right.
Okay.
I asked. I was trying to tell somebody the synopsis, basically, of what was that last alien movie? With the researchers, the engineers. It was anyways, I was like, can you tell me the synopsis of that movie? And it was like 50 pages. I'm like, holy Christ. So then I finally ended up asking it, can you summarize this movie into less than 5 pages, 5 paragraphs? And it did. And it made total sense. But it went in like super fucking detail of like every little thing that happened, why that thing happened, and then why it led up to the next thing. But yeah, you can like totally dumb it down.
So with this, the only person who said that there were shots fired against the helicopter was Geraldo.
Of course.
Okay. Now, they used that incident as justification for a change in rules of engagement. Despite Weiss's repeated denials that shots had been fired at his helicopter, Assistant U.S. Attorney Ron Howen charged as overt Act 32 of the Weavers' conspiracy against the federal government that Randy, Vicky, and Kevin Harris fired 2 shots at Geraldo Rivera. Everybody else said that there wasn't, but the U.S. Attorney was looking for a reason to change the rules of engagement.
Damn. This guy's got fucking shit luck.
But I think that this U.S. attorney had a boner for these people.
It sounds like it. Somebody did.
He was trying to make his bones. That's what it sounds like. Operation Northern Exposure was suspended for 3 months due to the confirmation hearings of the United States Marshal Service Director Henry E. Hudson. Nobody cares. It says the federal and some local and law enforcement personnel had exaggerated assumptions about Weaver, believing that Weaver was a Green Beret, assuming Weaver would shoot on sight anyone attempting to arrest him, thought he had collected specific types of arms, believing that his property was booby-trapped and tunneled. I guess none of that was proven. They did say that Weaver's military record clarified post-incident, after everything was done, correcting false assumptions about his special forces affiliation. So he wasn't in the special forces. And they didn't learn that till after the entire thing happened. So the Ruby Ridge actual incident, the whole thing you came to hear, 50 or 45 minutes in.
We just got a bunch of names of lawyers you don't remember.
You don't have to remember all the names of lawyers. What you have to remember is everything that happened up to this point. It seems like while he did some questionable things, there was a lot of questionable things by the federal government. And while there was poor decision making by the Weavers, there was a concerted effort to entrap and then persecute this family.
It seems like they were going to get this guy one way or the other.
But for what reason?
Right. The wrong reason.
So the incident happened on August 21st, 1992. The Marshal Service was doing some scouting and reconnaissance. 6 marshals were sent to the area to scout and find suitable places to apprehend and arrest Randy Weaver away from the cabin.
I say apprehend, I say ambush.
Well, pretty much, yes. Yeah. They were dressed in military camouflage, equipped with night vision goggles and M16s. Absolutely. Ambush. I don't need to give you the names of the recon team. I don't need to give you the names of the observation post team. There's only one name that will come up in this that is important then. So the initial engagement, they were testing the dog's reaction. Art Roderick, who was on the recon team, threw 2 rocks at the Weaver cabin to see how the dog would react. The dog's name was Striker. The dog began following the agents. Kevin Harris and Samuel Weaver, 14-year-old son, followed the dog, hoping it had detected some game animal because they're living off the land.
Sure.
So they thought the dog picked up a rabbit or squirrel.
Tonight's meal.
Yeah, whatever they were having for dinner. The recon team initially retreated, but later took up hidden defensive positions. The op team and the Weavers heard the dog alert after neighbors started a pickup truck. You got 8 acres. How close were you to the neighbor's house? Or you have 20 acres. 8 hectaacres. What the heck is a hectaacre?
What the heck were they doing there?
Recon team retreated to a wide junction in the trails 500 yards west of the cabin. Randy Weaver took a separate logging trail. Samuel and Harris followed Striker. Vicky Weaver and the other children remained in the cabin. Roger claimed to have shouted, "Back off, U.S. Marshal," upon seeing Randy. Cooper claimed to have shouted, "Stop, U.S. Marshal." Samuel and Stryker emerged from the wood. Roderick shot and killed the dog, Stryker. Samuel allegedly responded, "You killed my dog, you son of a bitch," and fired at Roderick. Cooper
It would be better if you said, "You sons of bitches."
You sons of bitches. Cooper returned fire towards Samuel and Harris, who sought cover. Harris from cover fired and killed Bill Deegan, who's one of the marshals. Samuel Weaver, while retreating up the hill, was shot in the back and killed by Cooper. So they killed a dog. Like, motherfucker, you killed my dog.
Those some fighting words, man.
Dude, someone shoots my podcast therapy dog, they're going to be a reckoning.
They're going to get shot back.
It's not going to be pretty. Man, it's just a fucked up situation, man. Like, Samuel Weaver wasn't even on their radar as...
How old was he? 14?
They didn't have an arrest warrant on him or nothing. He shouldn't have even been a subject of concern.
Man, it just sounds like with if he didn't sell all that shit to the Aryan Brotherhood, I mean,
and the bikers,
it really does. This sounds like a kill mission to me. And
well, they shot him in the fucking back.
You got a lot of like you said, like, we don't know the back. We're just here to do a job. And so they were probably fed minimal information. This guy's very dangerous. You have to listen. They're not going there to play. They got fucking night vision goggles.
Yeah. To the lay person, that feels like a cop out. To someone who's been in law enforcement for most of my life, like, I get where they're coming from, but you shot someone in the back.
Yeah, that's not good.
There's no threat to you at that point.
There's no exactly. Just what you said. There's no threat.
So the ballistics report showed there was 19 rounds fired during the conflict. Roderick fired one round from his M16 that killed the dog. Samuel Weaver fired 3 rounds from a .223 Ruger Mini 14 at Roderick. Deegan fired 6 shots from an M16 at Harris and Weaver. Cooper fired 6 shots from a 9mm Colt submachine gun at Harris and Weaver. Harris fired 2 shots from a 30-06 M1917 Enfield rifle. 1 shot killed Deegan. Critical shot. Samuel Weaver was killed by a shot to the back while retreating. No longer a threat. I add that as my own notation. Harris was shot and killed.
Although, do you think that if you got no gunfight, if the guy's already shot at you and he runs off and you blast him in the back, then I can only assume that he
was a kid.
I can only assume that he's
a child.
I can only assume that he's
a child running away.
He's going to drop down and fire
after you kill this fucking dog.
Listen, I'm trying real hard.
I tried hard too.
Understand this,
and I've done this research. I did this research a while ago.
Did they know how old the kid was?
Yes.
This crew that went in,
they had to.
And well, you
could look at him and see he was a kid.
The only thing I could think of is you're in the woods, so you're kind of camouflaged.
Even Nathan at 14 looked like a kid. He looks 30 now.
I mean,
but
that's my only thing I could say is that
I'm sorry, bro.
He shot at me once. He's probably going to shoot again. So I don't care if he's running away or whatever he's doing. I don't know if he's
retreating. He shot out of anger because someone killed his dog.
No, I get that. I totally get that.
And then he said, "Fuck this, I'm out of here."
Yeah.
Turned around and started running. No longer a threat. Not brandishing a gun towards him.
So he
shot him in the fucking back.
He dropped the gun?
He wasn't pointing it at anybody.
I mean, it's just so hard to. I get it, but it's fucked up, dude. It's so messed up.
I am someone who normally gives law enforcement the benefit of the doubt, maybe more than I should. I get shit for that. I get a lot of shit from people.
Sure.
But a kid whose dog was just killed by these guys for no reason other than alerting that they were there.
Right. It's not like the dog attacked or something. They just, boom.
Stop telling everybody where I am.
And
I'm sorry.
The kid shot back and then ran away.
And in the heat of that,
I could say it's going to be reasonably assumed that I'm sorry he was a kid, but that he's going to get gunned down. It sucks.
I would say the opposite. You can reasonably assume if you're on my property, you kill my dog, you can reasonably assume you ain't walking out of here.
Right, but they had the upper hand against a kid.
Against a kid who was running away.
Yeah.
Who was running away. It's a fucked up situation. There's so many ways to look at it. I don't fault you for how you're looking at it. I just see a kid running away who just lost his dog and shot at someone in anger. Now, the other guy got killed. The other officer got killed by the other dude. That's not the kid's fault. You need to control yourself.
I don't even feel they should have been there in that capacity at all. When you drop into somebody's private property, camouflaged out with M16s and night vision goggles, can only assume you're there for one job. And that's to take somebody out, right?
I would think so. They went in
because so what if they took They just nab that kid up. Boom. Hey, Weaver, we got your kid. Give it up. He's safe. He's with us. Give it up.
I would have been more okay with that than him being shot in the back.
Blasted in the back with a .06. 6.
Well, it was a let's see,
the submachine gun.
He got caught with the M16. Yeah, M16. So military round, the 5.56.
So I'm sure let's read further into this and see how much more fucked up this gets.
Well, that's a summary of that. Like the summary is there. The subcommittee engaged an additional expert and ultimately declined to draw a final conclusion. Yeah, you're not going to draw a final conclusion and condemn your own fucking people.
Right.
The evidence suggests but does not establish that the shot that killed Samuel Weaver was fired by DUSM Cooper. It concluded that there was no indication that he intended to kill or injure Weaver. Bullshit! If you shoot at someone, you intend to kill or injure the motherfucker.
Right. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, that's bullshit. Like, own it. Either I shot at him to stop him.
Well, let's put the shoe on the other foot. If you were in that officer's situation,
I don't know what I'd do.
And you were dead wrong.
I
knew it, and you're like, hey man, just admit to it, even though nobody's asking you to. Would you like clear your own conscience and be like, yeah, I fucking shot him to kill him? Or would you let him sweep it under the rug and then
I would not let him sleep it under, like, my conscience wouldn't allow me. I own my shit.
Yeah. And then like live out the rest of your days, and whatever karma gets you.
See, this is a fault of mine, and it's
You're
why
perfect. I know.
It's not that. It's not that. I am, but it's not that. It's why I get pissed off and stressed out at work. I own my shit. If I fucked up, I owned it. And when the other side, I won't say, I won't be specific, but when the other side fucks up and doesn't own it, that's what pisses me off so much. That's what causes me stress.
Mm.
When excuses are made for the other side because they're the other side and they don't own their shit, and I step up and say, look, I fucked up. I'll own what's coming to me. That bothers me. Because they don't have the honor or respect for me to own their shit. Now, I know owning this could cause someone to go to jail for a long, long time. But, so, Cooper, wherever the fuck you're at, I hope your conscience is bothering you every day.
Something tells me it ain't.
I think it is. I really do.
Not if he's a psychopath. They don't care.
I don't think he's a psychopath. Like I said, I give too much. I give too much leeway to people in law enforcement. I don't think he went out there wanting to kill somebody. I think in the heat of the moment, he made a decision, and I think he regrets it. But he should have owned it.
So crazy. I always think too, like, did the guy like do in his heart what he thought was right? Like, oh shit, he might have shot. And
I don't think he
went right past my buddy's head.
I don't think he thought about it.
I'm like, ain't no way.
Fuck you, motherfucker. I don't think he thought about it. I think he reacted.
It's like take that little clip from Fury where they got Norman, the new tank guy.
Good movie.
And he hesitates, and he gets the tank crew in front of him killed. He goes, I'm sorry. They were just kids. I didn't know. And he pulls them out of the tank. He's like, you see what a fucking kid can do? And the dude's like burning to death on fire. You see what a fucking kid can do? He's like, you see another person with a gun, you fucking... I forget what he said, but it was pretty cool. But yeah, it's like, I don't know where I'm going with that, but I think the whole deal was just fucked up, dude.
So there was differing accounts of what happened. So Harris's account versus the federal account. The federal account was Stryker, the dog.
Striker.
Preceded Harris and Samuel. He went out in the woods. Deegan challenged Harris, who then shot and fatally wounded Deegan. And Deegan, before Deegan could fire, Roderick shot. So they're saying that Deegan shot Harris.
They started it.
Yeah, they're saying that the dog wasn't shot first.
They drew first blood.
Yeah.
Then killed the dog and the kid.
And then Roderick shot Stryker. Samuel fired twice at Roderick. Roderick returned fire. Cooper heard multiple gunshots from the Weaver party. He fired 3-shot bursts at Harris, seeing him fall. Cooper saw Samuel running away and radioed that he had wounded or killed Harris. But Cooper is the one who shot Weaver. So that account doesn't even fucking match up to the facts. The Harris account is Stryker was followed by Samuel and Harris into the woods. Stryker ran into Roderick, who shot the dog right in front of Samuel. Samuel yelled and fired at Roderick. Deegan emerged and shot Samuel in the arm. Harris fired and hit Deegan in the chest. Cooper fired at Harris, who ducked for cover. Then Cooper shot, again hitting Samuel in the back. Harris fired in front of Cooper, who took cover, identified him. So this is the first identification of U.S. Marshals. Right there. Even in the
I thought they said stop a U.S. Marshal before the dog came out.
Well, even in the federal account, at no point in that federal account
do they mention it?
Do they mention identifying themselves as U.S. Marshals?
Jesus Christ.
So it's the second last bullet point is Harris fired in front of Cooper, who then took cover and identified himself as a U.S. Marshal.
It's like Dad, he's like, U.S. Marshal.
Harris checked Samuel and found him dead, then ran to... So after he identified himself as U.S. Marshal, Harris checked Samuel, who's dead, and then he ran to the Weaver cabin. That's ridiculous. So a ballistics expert testified that the evidence did not contradict either the prosecution or defense theories. Of course not. The immediate aftermath. So we're back, and I just wanted to mention that we are on the Deluxe Edition Network.
Are we still? They haven't kicked us off yet?
Not yet.
That's fantastic.
I think it's because I know Casey, and they don't have the heart to kick me off, but the Deluxe Edition Network is a group of podcasters support each other. So I want you to go out and check out all the great podcasts on Deluxe Edition Network at deluxeeditionnetwork.com. So the aftermath of this shooting, Hunt and Thomas went to the neighbor's house to call for assistance at the
Crisis Center?
The USMC Crisis Center.
No, that's USMS.
Yeah, that's what I said.
You said USMC.
Yeah, the Marine Corps. Marshal Service Crisis Center. Norris, Cooper, and Roderick stayed with Deegan's body at the Y. That's a split in the trail.
I love how at the beginning, when I busted you for having too much information, then you like scrolled through 3 pages. Like, yeah, these people you don't need to know their names.
Now all their names are coming up.
Now all their names are coming up, and I was like, nobody knows who the fuck these names are.
Yeah, they do. They know.
Yeah. Just go back and
Norris, Cooper, and Roderick are all feds. So the feds.
It was like legitimately after you said you don't need to know these things.
The feds stayed with Deegan's body. Randy and Vicky retrieved Samuel's body. That's the Weavers. Randy, Vicky, and Harris placed Samuel's body in the guest cabin near the main cabin. From 11:15 a.m. onward, no further gunfire was heard, according to Hunt's report. Let's see.
We're about halfway through this.
Shut it.
Hey, listen, buddy. You do great fucking work. I'm not banging you on that.
But there's just so many conflicting things.
I know.
It's like, if I didn't...
How do you dumb it down?
I couldn't dumb it down.
Yeah.
I tried.
You just have to suck it up.
I tried. I really did. I tried to dumb
and
it.
Watch 4 hours of us getting more progressively drunk throughout our episode.
Not true.
Anyways, I digress.
I filled this can with water.
That's what I have in here. But I haven't drank any of it.
So there was conflicting accounts, of course. Differing accounts of who fired first and the trail. Who fired first?
Should I take on reading from here?
No.
Are you sure?
You want to?
Seems like you're on the struggle bus.
A little
A little bit?
I might be too hydrated.
You want Frankie Cavatapi Reggiano to take over? Huh?
Go ahead.
Where we leave off?
Right here at Harris asserted his self-defense.
Why didn't you just highlight all of it? Harris asserted self-defense and was acquitted on charges in Deegan's death.
Which is bullshit.
Impact our negotiation. Well, what I'm reading here is the initial bullet point anyway, so we'll go first. The incident significantly heightened tensions and distrust between the Weaver family and federal authorities.
Why wouldn't it?
The shootout became a fecal point in the border.
Focal, not a fecal.
Well, I did that on purpose.
There's a whole lot of shit here, but not this.
In the broader controversy over the government's handling of the situation at Ruby Ridge. So, I guess they're calling this a siege? The siege. Is that what it's originally called?
Well, there's a siege after the incident.
Oh, fuck. All right, so following a gunfight in 1992, Hunt requested immediate support from Idaho law enforcement. So that's where it happened, Idaho? I thought it was...
No, I told you it was Idaho.
Oh, I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Idaho, Idaho, they the ho.
I walked away and I didn't hear what you said. I asked you and then walked away. I'm so stupid. So Idaho is pretty fucking remote.
Just so everybody knows, someone in this room, not me, or Jason, or Michael, felt that this might be Washington State.
It feels like Washington State.
It actually does.
The Marshal Service Crisis Center was activated, and the Special Operations Group was alerted. The Boundary County Sheriff's Office mobilized in response to the USMS call.
That's the United States Marshal Service.
I feel like this is all okay. We're getting there. Let's go down.
Some of the stuff repeats itself.
Yeah. So they developed a rule of engagement.
Yes.
There was a sniper there. So they had a sniper rules of engagement. This is the rules of engagement for the sniper.
Yes.
The use of deadly force against any armed adult, not child running away from you
with their back turned. Now, in fairness, it wasn't a sniper that shot him. It was a gunman on the ground.
I'm sure the rules of engagement.
And an agent on the ground. Go ahead.
Use of deadly force against an armed adult around the cabin after the... Hold on. Now, what would they just come up with this after they killed a couple people and they were like, oh, by the way, here's the rules of engagement.
Well, the way I look at it is the government realized there was a mistake made with the killing of the young boy. Without admitting fault, they say, hold it. Back up. Let's deploy some rules of engagement here.
And you know what? That's pretty scary that can happen.
So,
am I wrong?
I know it is wrong. But if you look at the third rule of engagement, that's why I say this.
So 1, use of deadly force against an armed adult around the cabin after the surrender announcement. 2, use of deadly force against an armed male before the announcement if the shot could be taken without endangering children.
Number 3.
This is so specific. Number
3.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No. I want you to read it. This is your thing.
Permission to shoot any dog if compromised. And that's why I say this goes back to, look, the federal government realizes that there was a mistake made. Not a mistake in shooting the dog, but a mistake in shooting the child.
So you feel this was written afterwards?
Oh, this is absolutely written afterwards.
I agree.
Go ahead.
Number 4, application of FBI standard deadly force rules to anyone other than Randy Weaver, Vicky Weaver, and Kevin Harris presenting a threat of death or grievous bodily harm.
So although you can shoot any armed adult around the cabin, and you can use deadly force of any male who is armed without endangering children, the application of FBI standards deadly force rules to anyone other than Randy Weaver and Vicky Weaver and Kevin Harris presenting a threat of death or grievous bodily harm. So unless you feel your life is threatened by anybody else, you're not allowed to use deadly force. But number 1 says use of deadly force. You know,
so it's that catch-22.
It is CYA 101.
I can't even describe like number 4. I don't even like. How would you dumb that down for me?
There's no dumbing it down. So
like it doesn't. When I read it, it doesn't make sense. I
the
don't know
FBI standard deadly force rules are: you may not use deadly force. It's just like us. You may not use deadly force unless your life or the life of an innocent bystander is in jeopardy, is imminent.
So they kind of added to this, I would assume, like number 4.
So they're saying unless Randy Weaver, Vicky Weaver, or Kevin Harris is presenting a threat of death or grievous bodily harm to anybody around you or yourself, you may not use deadly force. But number 1 precludes that.
Right. Yeah. So it's like it's like talking in circles.
Yes.
So they're covering all.
It's very unclear.
Very unclear.
Like it's not just you not getting it, dude. It's like, what the fuck?
Well, that's how fucked up it is. It's like even a layman like me can't like, what? I thought you said to shoot him. Don't shoot him. Shoot him. Shoot him. Don't shoot him.
You're covered either way. If you shoot them and they have a weapon, you're good. Yeah. Pretty much.
Pretty mouth you got there, boy.
You sure do got a pretty mouth.
Hey, is that a 22 LR you got? Let me show you mine. It's much bigger.
I don't think it is.
Reactions to rules of engagement. FBI agents, particularly sniper observers, perceive the rules of engagement as a green light to shoot on sight, which they absolutely are.
Mm-hmm.
Standard stipulation that agents could use deadly force only in self-defense or defense of others, with verbal warnings given when feasible. That's not true, because the first rule of engagement is if they have a weapon, you can take them out.
Take them out.
Unless they're a child.
Should I read this next one?
Good.
On August 22nd, the hostage response team sniper observer teams were briefed and deployed to the cabin on foot. different views of on the ROE. What does that mean? ROE.
Rules of engagement.
Oh,
Okay. Basically, you're saying everybody's looking at this rules of engagement differently.
This seems like the biggest clusterfuck.
It is.
It's like nobody's talking to you. Have like 5 different agencies. Nobody's talking to anybody.
Nothing's clear.
Nothing's clear.
Because the rules are written unclear on purpose.
Mm. This is a conspiracy theory, man.
No accountability.
No accountability.
Good.
Let's just read the criticism there.
Well, Denver SWAT. I mean, this is important here.
Denver SWAT?
So Denver SWAT leader and its members founded...
You're in Iowa.
Idaho.
Idaho. Is there a Denver, Idaho?
No. So basically, this is saying that you have all these agencies here. FBI accepted the rules of engagement as modified standard deadly force policy. HRT sniper Dale Monroe viewed the rules of engagement as a green light to shoot armed adults on sight, which is what rule number 1 was.
Right.
While sniper Edward Wenger interpreted it as permission to use deadly force against armed adults adhering to standard policy for others. FBI negotiator was shocked at the severity of the rules of engagement, inconsistent with standard policy and experience of over 300 hostage situations. So now, criticism. Go ahead.
The 1996 Senate report criticized the rules of engagement as virtual shoot-on-sight orders.
So they're not, like, the sniper wasn't the only one who saw this as a shoot-on-sight order.
I mean, I think if you shoot a kid in the back, that's shoot-on-sight.
Well, this is all after. This is all after that happened.
I don't like this.
They're setting up for...
It's pissing me off.
Hang on. I'm skipping over. This is all background stuff. But see, some of this stuff it is important. Like a memo from the FBI Deputy Assistant Director on August 24th. Go ahead, do that.
I thought we read that. Well, anyways, before negotiators arrived at the Weaver cabin, FBI sniper Lon Perucci took a position over 200 yards north and above the cabin. Perucci shot Randy Weaver in the back while Weaver was lifting the latch on the shed to visit his deceased son's body.
So another one shot in the back.
God damn. A bullet exited through Weaver's right armpit. During a later trial, Perucci testified that he aimed for Weaver's spine, but Weaver moved at the last moment. As Randy Weaver, his 16-year-old daughter Sarah, and Kevin Harris ran back towards the cabin, Perucci fired a second shot. This bullet wounded Harris in the chest and killed Vicky Weaver, who was standing behind the door of the cabin holding their 10-month-old baby, Elizabeth. Elizabeth.
Okay.
Keep going?
Yep.
The shooting of Vicky Weaver, a non-combatant holding a baby. This is where I did not jump ahead. I knew this, and I knew if I said something, you'd be like, "What? Trying to jump ahead."
That's why I'm letting you read it.
I get my badge back.
I read your fucking mind.
So, the shooting of Vicky Weaver, a non-combatant holding a baby, intensified the controversy surrounding the FBI's rules of engagement at Ruby Ridge. This incident raised serious questions about the rules of engagement and the conduct of FBI snipers, leading to extensive investigations and public outcry. I mean, I don't give a fuck who you are. You got a fucking sniper rifle and a scope.
No, hold on.
You're going to see a baby.
Nope. She was behind the door. It was an accidental shot. They did not see her or the target. He was shooting at the other dude, Harris. She was behind the door. She got hit. Did not know she was there. Did not know she was holding a baby.
What are the odds?
I just say it's another confluence of fucked up shit in this case.
I think the whole read on this story is don't fucking try and go on off grid.
Well, the whole read in this story is if the government suspects you of something, you're going to fucking die.
Yeah. It's many against how many were in this family? 5.
Well, they killed the son. They killed the father. They killed the mother. The infant daughter is the only one who's still alive, I guess.
So that's a total of 4. One was an infant. That brings it down to 3.
Well, that's what I think.
3 against.
Well, they had like fucking 10 agencies fucking there. The sheriff's department, the FBI, the fucking marshals.
Yeah, my whole thing was like, what was the build up to this? Like, was there somebody on the inside that was like, I got to get this motherfucker? He done me wrong.
Well, it all started with the fucking neighbor. All started with the fucking neighbor saying he made threats against the president and the Pope. After the neighbor lost the lawsuit in the land dispute. I hope that neighbor rots in hell.
And you know what's sad is it all it takes is one fucking cocksucker running his fucking mouth.
One Karen.
One Karen.
Or Darren.
One Kevin.
Is that what it is? Kevin and Karen?
I forget.
Or Karen and Darren?
I'm sure it's both.
Or fucking douchebag.
One douchebag.
But that's what the whole thing started with. Him and his neighbor in the land dispute to the whole family fucking dead. So now you got what?
Oh. I thought you were ending it.
No,
I know. I see we got like
there's like fucking post-coitus shit here. So let me see. Let me see if I can wrap this up somewhat speedily.
I think we did.
No, there's the trial of the fucking sniper. There's
damn.
I know Arlen Specter got involved. That's a U.S. senator from Pennsylvania.
I think we tell our viewers, you really want to know what's going on, you look it up yourself. I think
you don't have fucking Google.
I said that one of our podcasts.
You don't even listen to that.
I was like, I don't know. You want the facts? Go look it up yourself. We're here to present the facts to you, but
well, here's something I found interesting. August 24th. It was a memo from the FBI Assistant Director Danny Colson.
Yeah.
Charges, this was in the memo. Charges against Weaver is bullshit. No one ever saw Weaver doing any shooting. Vicky Weaver had no charges against her. Weaver defends he ran to see why the dog was barking. Some men in camouflage shot his dog. He started shooting at him. Killed his son. Harris did the shooting. Weaver is in a strong legal position.
I mean, you kill my dog and my son.
So they had to kill him. They had the federal government had to kill him because they were going to sue the federal government and win.
I mean, that's what I was saying earlier. Is like they got something against them, and they just came out to silence them. Dead men don't speak.
So, August 30th, Harris surrendered and was removed on a stretcher, flown to Sacred Heart Hospital in Spokane, Washington. Vicky Weaver's body was removed under supervision of Bo Gritz, a civilian negotiator. Weaver's daughter was released to officials, relatives. Research on Ruby Ridge incident, trials of Weaver and Harris, charges and details.
Jesus Christ.
Okay.
It's like to the fucking T, bro.
Dude. Weaver's defense did not call any defensive witnesses.
Weaver had a scab on the tip of his penis. Okay.
So it says that he was charged with a variety of offenses. The strategy from the attorney did not call any defensive witnesses and aimed to discredit the government's evidence and witnesses through cross-examination. The outcome, acquitted of all charges except for missing his original court date.
They're all dead.
Violating bail conditions. Sentence, 18 months imprisonment, $10,000 fine. And he shouldn't even been convicted of that. He got a fucking letter saying his court date was a month after the original
this
court
is
date.
tyranny at its fucking finest. I told you, this is what scares me. One against many. You could have the greatest cause in your life, and the man's coming out to get you. You're fucking done. You're smoked. You might even have the best. I want to surrender.
Sorry. That was Randy Weaver and Kevin Harris. That was not. Randy Weaver, yeah. So Kevin Harris was indicted on first-degree murder. Charges dismissed early 1997 on grounds of double jeopardy. Harris had been acquitted of the same charges in 1993. Jesus. So now there's civil suits that came after that. The plaintiffs, Randy Weaver and his daughters, filed for $200 million related to the killing of Vicky Weaver and Samuel Weaver. Out-of-court settlement in 1995 was awarded. Randy Weaver was awarded $100,000. Each daughter was awarded $1 million. The government did not admit any wrongdoing. An anonymous DOJ official suggested that the Weavers might have won a full amount if they had gone to the trial. My foot slipped off my gimmick. Kevin Harris civil suit pressed for damages on behalf of Harris. Vowed not to pay someone who had killed a federal marshal. The federal officials had initially vowed not to pay someone who killed a federal marshal. In September 2000, Harris was awarded $380,000 by the federal government.
Where does that go? In his tombstone?
To his estate, to his family.
Jesus Christ.
Don't
ever get on the wrong side of the law. Don't ever sell sawed-off shotguns to the Aryan Brotherhood and motorcycle gangs.
The sniper, Hiroshi.
Mm-hmm.
Hiroshi.
Hiroshima.
Charges were manslaughter on state charges. 1997, before the statute of limitations expired. Special prosecutor in 1998, because Hiroshi was acting in the line of duty. He was removed from federal court because he was acting in the line of duty as a federal law enforcement officer. It was dismissed on grounds of sovereign immunity, which is not unusual. Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, which the Ninth Circuit they call the Ninth Circus, reversed the dismissal. held that there was enough uncertainty about the facts of the Hiroshi to stand trial on manslaughter charges. New prosecutor dropped the charges, believing that proving the criminal charges were unlikely. Too much time had passed. So he was never actually tried for manslaughter. And that's the end.
Fucked up.
Look, the whole thing is fucked up, dude. And this is one of those cases where, like, I legitimately can look at it objectively from both sides with a general distrust for the government because they lie.
I think it's so wrong in so many ways to plop yourself in somebody's land that they bought and then just be the judge, jury, and executioner under some whack fucking law that says anybody you see with a gun, whatever. That fucking poor little kid could, whatever. Nobody knows the story. If they're all dead, who's telling the story?
What bothers me most about the entire thing is that child was killed by being shot in the back. And by both accounts, they never identified themselves as federal agents until after he was shot.
You plop yourself down as a federal agency or whatever, law enforcement, into somebody's private property, and you're like, game on. This is no. You do what we. No, it's not.
And he was running away. He was not a threat at that time.
So at what point do we say? Do we have the right to defend our own land?
You always have the right to defend your own land. I don't know what Idaho's law is, but Pennsylvania, the Castle Doctrine. If you're not announcing yourself as law enforcement, you can expect to get shot.
Yeah. All right. So I guess the moral of the story is like, fucking shut your mouth and do as you're told, right?
Like
if they're telling it.
If you want to come on property in Pennsylvania and you want to brandish guns and threaten my life, threaten my family, if you're law enforcement, you better be yelling that shit out.
Think of what they had to gain out of it. A guy that was selling sawed-off shotguns to the Aryan Brotherhood,
allegedly.
He
was never actually charged with it. He was never convicted of it.
That's not something I want to break into somebody's property and call down the fucking hell upon him.
And because his neighbor accused him of fucking threatening Reagan and the Pope because he lost a court case against him.
Yeah.
I don't know. So, like, this whole thing is really fucked up.
Very fucked up. I'm kind of glad I mentioned this to you because I didn't really know that much about it.
It's complex. Now, this might be broken up into two parts.
Super complex.
So
we left a lot of shit out.
We did skip over a lot of shit. There's a lot of post-action stuff that we just, like, there's just not time for it all. So if I were you, I would go out and do a little research on our stuff and maybe call us out on some bullshit.
Yes.
But we took on Ruby Ridge and we tried to do it justice. I tried to be objective.
You were very objective.
I don't know if I was, because, like, this one really pissed me off against the federal government and law enforcement. And that hurts me to say because I generally side with law enforcement. But we took that on. Now you go take on the world and come back in a couple of weeks for the next one.
This podcast is part of the Deluxe Edition Network. To find other great shows on the network, head over to deluxeeditionnetwork.com. That's deluxeeditionnetwork.com.
Hold on, stop.
Welcome back to the Shit Show 2.0.
Okay, boomer.
Damn millennials. Wow.
Did not know that. Even flirters who are obviously mentally ill. You want to be my wife?
Oh, this is gonna go downhill real quick.